Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dolled Up Desserts baking channel. This video will mark our final Christmas recipe for 2018 and I'm super excited to share with you a Poletto Family vault recipe. This recipe is super special. It's part of every single Christmas dessert platter that are at our family gatherings. Today we are making pecan shortbread horseshoes. Now the horseshoe format is very Eastern European. Most of you probably are familiar with pecan shortbread snowballs, which is the other thing that we're doing. To make horseshoes, it's very time consuming, whereas making snowballs is super easy. This recipe is a no baking mix recipe, which means you're gonna have to go out and buy out all the ingredients, but thankfully there are not too many. We're gonna share with you the secret to making a really delicious and crisp gluten-free shortbread, as well as a buttery shortbread without using any butter. So if you're interested in learning how to make gluten-free and vegan pecan shortbread horseshoes, make sure you stick around. For those of you who are stumbling on our channel for the first time, welcome. My name is Katerina. I'm the chief dessert designer and founder of Dolled Up Desserts. Dolled Up Desserts is a real gluten-free and vegan bakery and baking mix production company from Hamilton, Ontario. We specialize in making everything gluten-free and vegan. This channel is our way of sharing inclusive recipes that are super simple that make use of our baking mixes. Once in a while, we'll share a video that does not require a baking mix or is a technique-based video, but regardless, all of our videos are super informative for any baker, whether you're using a baking mix or not. So whether this is your first time baking or it is your billionth time baking, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all of the interesting gluten-free and vegan recipes and techniques coming from Dolled Up Desserts. And now without further ado, let's get making those pecan shortbread horseshoes, or snowballs. For this recipe, we're gonna start with the dry ingredients. So to your mixing bowl, add in your white rice flour, your cornstarch, and your icing sugar. Mix it up with a spatula or whisk just to make sure everything's fairly incorporated and evenly dispersed. And then you're gonna start adding your wet ingredients. We're gonna start off with some mashed, cooled potato. We use potato in all of our shortbread cookies. Potatoes give that really nice melt in your mouth feel that you don't usually get from a gluten-free or vegan shortbread cookie. Earth balance or non-dairy butter, and then you're going to add in your pecans. My pecans were ground up in our magic bullet and they kind of ended up making a little bit of a butter. Now pecans are very fatty, so I actually cut down on the typical amount of non-dairy butter we would use in shortbreads to replace it with the butter and the fats that are in the pecan shortbread. If you do not make this modification, what ends up happening is that they become too fatty and they start deep frying. Vice versa, if you take out the nuts, you need to put in more earth balance or whatever non-dairy butter you're using, otherwise they will be too dry and crumbly. Once you put your wet ingredients in, it's time to get your hands dirty and you're going to mix up your ingredients until it comes together in a ball. Don't be alarmed if it feels really dry. As long as you follow this recipe, it will come together, I promise, and it'll be the perfect consistency. Do not add water, it will really ruin it. Once your dough has finally come together, it's time to start molding your shapes. Take a small portion of dough, I would say probably a quarter of the size of your palm, and you're going to slowly roll it out with your hands to form kind of a tube. But you don't want the ends to be too thin, so you're gonna kind of be molding it and rolling it. Because it's gluten-free, it's probably gonna break apart on you anyways. So just try your best. And as soon as you get that long tube-ish kind of shape, put it down on your parchment paper and form it into a horseshoe, leaving enough space between the two horseshoes in case it does spread a tiny bit. If you follow this recipe to a T, it will not spread, but depending on what non-dairy butter you use or how ground up your pecans are, you may get slightly different results. Or for those of you who just really don't want to do this extra work, just take a ball, that exact same ball, roll it, make sure there are no real big seams in it, and place it down on your parchment paper. That is how you make a snowball. Super easy, people. I highly recommend doing this if you're not feeling like doing the extra effort. Although the horseshoes are really nice. Once you've formed your dough, you're gonna take it and place it in the freezer for about half an hour just to ensure that the butter is cold and it's not going to seep out and deep fry your cookies. Once the dough has been frozen, you're going to bake it at 325 degrees for approximately 20 minutes. You'll know they're done because they'll be slightly hard on the outside, but still feeling a little bit soft. But when you turn them up and look at the bottoms, they will be brown. Once they're out of the oven, let them cool completely, and the most traditional and important part of making these cookies is the icing sugars. So what you're gonna do is grab your fine mesh sieve and some icing sugar, and you're just gonna lightly tap some icing sugar on the top there. Do this slowly, don't put in too much icing sugar into your sieve because it could end up being all on one cookie on the first pour. You don't wanna know how many of these cookies I've had in my lifetime. They're just so tasty. These are delightfully exactly like the ones that my mom makes. If you've come and seen us at any of our festivals or event, you've definitely met my mom. She's part of Adult Desserts, and she's the one who makes these and loves these because she loves nuts and she loves dry cookies. And so she usually uses butter and regular flour, but these are the exact same texture, super crunchy, super dry, but in a good way, not in a bad way, and very, very, very nutty. My mom would be very proud of these ones, and she's probably gonna have some because I'm gonna bring these over to her house for Christmas. Thank you so much for tuning in and allowing me to share one of our family favorite recipes, Pecan Shortbread Horseshoes, with you. These cookies are really, really easy, do not require a baking mix. I highly recommend you try making them for Christmas. Everybody's going to love them. They're dry, they're crispy, they're nutty, they're not overly sweet. They're the perfect little cookie to put in your holiday cookie boxes or just at your Christmas table with a nice cup of coffee or tea. If you enjoyed this video and you want to stay up to date with everything Dolled Up Desserts, you know what to do. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you do decide to make these or any of our holiday cookies over Christmas, make sure you share them on Instagram or Facebook and tag us at Dolled Up Desserts Baking so we can see them, share them, and also be so proud of you for making some delicious inclusive dessert. Thanks for watching!